Hey, everybody. It's Alexander A. Manzoni with Manzoni in the Morning. How's everybody doing? I'm doing pretty good. Over the weekend, we went to Seattle, me, Sophia, my mother, for vacation to see my brother and his wife, Nick and Angeline. They just moved out there, went out there for the first time, and we had a great time. We went to the aquarium and went all around the place, driving around town, having a great time. Seafood, giant bibs, and then all the while, Bigfoot stole my weed. That happens, you know. You go out there, and then boom, Bigfoot's right behind you. Boom, there he goes. Hey, what'd you take from me? He took the weed. Interesting. I wrote a poem while I was out there, and I'm going to read that. And I'm going to do a couple other things, because that's what I like to do. All right. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Dun-dun-dun. We're going to start it off with the poem, No Light Within These Walls. I wrote this last year. Overwhelmed, depressed, no light within these walls. Built up over time, there seems to be little reason why anything happens. Everything I see is poisoning me, subconsciously or otherwise. Paranoia. I don't need piles of refined hard drugs to leap out of my chair, out of my skin at any given moment. Everyone and no one is against me, and I don't know how to live, how else to live, restructured my own life many a time. Moved around the country, even in rehab, it followed me. How many times can a man break down to be built up again before the shards themselves grind to dust? No glue shall bind me then. It is endless depression, overwhelmed. It is nothing but gnawing anxiety, intestinal churning protest. Wake up tomorrow to repeat words I have come to dread. Never again. When will it end? I tried to take care of that business myself more times than I had digits. None of that worked, nor did it make me feel better. Never will there be a true end to suffering. Death be yet another painful beginning. I don't know where to go. I don't know where I am, who I am, where I'm at, what is happening, where am I going? How will I realize where I am headed? For I am overwhelmed, I am depressed, and there is no light within these walls. Is there anyone out there listening? Anyone at all? That's a poem about my depression. Bipolar, and I experience exaggerated emotions. So when I'm depressed, I'm very, very depressed. And when I'm happy, I'm pretty fucking happy, you know. The anxiety magnified all of it. And I think that's one of the reasons why there are so many bipolar poets, because you have to concentrate on these details and these emotions. And when you have exaggerated, explosive emotions, you're going to have exaggerated, explosive poems. I go all over the place. Sometimes from the poems, you would think that there was no hope left. And other times, it's the greatest triumphs and known to mankind. Over here, and then what's all this stuff in between? That's normal reality. And I exist at the periphery. And that is something you could take to the bank. Boom, 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 boom. All right, now we're coming here. This is called live poetry on the internet. Live poetry on the internet. Taking my show full circle. I think of a new idea every day. I find another way to entertain those beyond the woes of the daily grind. Driving myself half insane. Just enough to add some piquant spice. Just enough to make this interesting. Politics, I've had it with this. Mix it up to stay the course. Maybe I should join the Space Force. What are my qualifications? Good question. This is my obsession. Making videos. May this one be the best one. And maybe it won't be because it's live and, I like all my crazy editing and stuff like that. But it's something to think about. Something for me to think about. I'm going to start doing my Seattle poem. Doesn't even have a title yet. And, let's see how it works out. Seattle vacation out here in a new land with little more than a day plan. Stuck in traffic, that's how you know it's the city. Construction obstruction, the sign it declares there is ramp work up ahead. On our way to the aquarium and then perhaps an art museum. New place, new experience. We drove through an expansive set of mountains to get this far. Though the car we're in is not ours, it was a good idea to summon a ride, otherwise the stress levels would be too high. I cannot deny my obsessive fears, especially while traversing through my unknowns. We're moving again now from virtual standstill, the skyline, the Space Needle appears slightly obscured by fog. The sun is brightening in the sky. No rain in Seattle today. Different from how I always pictured it in my head while rocking out to early 90s grunge. Shipyards with Titanic cranes and winches manufacturing our American experience, our American existence. Trade made between nations. They come here to the seaport undoubtedly laden heavily with smiling Amazon cardboard parcels. Part 2. On the way home, passing between mountains, what adventure comes next? It's 250 miles back to Spokane. 100-milligram shot of liquid THC. Listening to Marilyn Manson and 9 Inch Nails with Sophia and Mom in the back. One weekend to remember. I'm glad it was a good one. Atop the peaks there exists little more than flora, fauna, and fire towers. Perpetual landslides in progress. They have built cages upon the slopes next to the road. They are the braziers of the earth itself. Only a matter of time before these hills subside and give way to open space and farmland post-harvest. We finally return home. That was fun. Yeah. I like writing while I'm doing stuff. And we were on our, we were on our way downtown, and then we're on our way back home. I really like writing while the shit's going on. I call it live poetry. Yeah, it's a good time. But then sometimes when I'm doing that, I don't get the full experience of the event itself because I am so wrapped up in my writing. So after I did a couple lines off of this, boom, I was like, okay, I gotta just chill. This is my vacation. It's our vacation. I gotta chill for a little while and don't drive myself crazy doing all this internet shit, because there's a certain amount of pressure that comes from doing the social media thing and trying to keep up with everybody else, posting and posting and posting and posting, and to retain the followers, because if you're not entertaining them every day, they fucking unfollow you. And I'm keeping track of all those people. Well, not all of them, but some of them. I know who it was that said, I don't want to see this guy's shit anymore. And yeah, it's just, it's stressful to be on all the time and to just be like, oh, what am I going to write next to do the internet show? And what's going to be the next thing for this and that? And then there's this the live show. And then there's Manzoni in the morning, the show kind of show. And I'm always trying to think of new stuff for that, or think of how I can use objects and things to make costumes and stuff like that. I got a cool mask for my my PDR character. I think I'm going to use them for that. That's the Piece de Resistance, and they are from American Carnage. They are fighting for America, but they're also revolutionaries, and they're completely fucking out of their minds. And yeah, so I'll use the mask for that. And then I got some suspenders for my upcoming Wall Street character, Stocks and Bonds. His name is Stocks and Bonds. Stocks and Bonds. And of course, have to get the suspenders to get that nice, Wall Street douchebag look going on. I got the piano keys one because, I'm kind of fun like that. He probably works for Vortman Financial Corp, which is was in the last episode of Manzoni in the Morning. It is a company full of assholes that are willing to do whatever it takes to make that moolah. I got a few other interesting things too. Yeah. And you'll be seeing them. You'll be seeing that stuff soon. So, with that in mind, let's do a little bit of the Spokane Story. All right. Spokane Story. Let's pick up where we left off last time. And last time we were with the old man driving around Spokane being a fucking asshole. And then with, Pete, where the hell are you, boy? There was a debate going on in the old man's mind. Would he close up shop for the night and find somewhere somewhat secluded to park the Odyssey? Would he comb the streets, burning up precious petroleum distillate in what would most likely amount to a futile search for Petey? Did someone maybe see him over at the House of Charity? Then again, that would have been a whole ball of wax in itself, as the old man had been banned for life from that particular shelter for repeated offenses ranging from drunken disorderly conduct to selling meth to junkies in the day room for cash, as well as food stamp purchases and personal effects. You know, you had to be a real piece of shit to get banned from the House of Charity. If worse came to worse, he'd have a Skip shoot over there tomorrow. The old man was not entirely sure as to why he felt so unsettled, but he couldn't shake the strangely nagging feeling that if Pete wasn't in trouble now, he would be soon. The sound of the windshield wipers dragging against the shatterproof automotive glass began to irritate the living hell out of the old man. It was akin to nails on a chalkboard or a record continually skipping over and over. The speakers caught up on the same melodic phrase, and it caused the old man to think about Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues. His own brain provided the turntable and needle, which got stuck at, and time keeps dragging on. Except his brain only processed, and time keeps, and time keeps, and time keeps, and time keeps, over and over and over again until the old man smacked himself square in the head with his palm. I suppose this is as good a time as any to give a little history lesson on the life and times of the old man. Born Amos Yancey Scarborough III in December of 1957 to Patricia Ann Scarborough and Amos Yancey Scarborough Jr. in Tacoma, Washington. The oldest of three brothers, the old man, as he later came to be known due to his tendency towards chastising his elders, had a pretty fucked up childhood. His father was a postal worker. His mother worked as a seamstress. Both parents were God-fearing individuals, never smoked, drank, and always attended church on Sundays. The old man's descent into criminality began innocently enough, stealing gum and small toys at the local mom and pop pharmacy, which is now a parking lot. He was caught several times and was reprimanded harshly for his devious actions. So ended his brief affair with theft, that is, until he began drinking. At age 12, and sampled some of his friend's mother's Dexedrine capsules, aka Black Beauties. This marked the beginning of a prolonged downward spiral lasting several decades. His love affair with amphetamines was not altogether surprising. As far back as he could remember, he always enjoyed being up more than down. And in the 70s, pharmaceutical speed was quite easy to obtain. It wasn't until the early 1980s that he went in on his first cook during a particularly dry summer. Dry meaning they didn't have a lot of drugs. Yes, despite the fact that he neither owned a motorcycle nor did he even have a valid driver's license, he spent an inordinate amount of time drinking at biker bars with members of local gangs whose names shall remain unsaid. Let's just say that they were not in any way the types of folks your wife would allow you to invite to your wedding reception or wedding or your house for that matter. Old Amos, the old man, got chummy with more than a couple of these individuals, which led to a renewed interest in speed. And as so happens, the identity of an underground chemist, a man who called himself Joker. Ironically, he was not funny, nor did he engage in behavior that could be construed as such. He did, though, get along quite well with the old man, quite possibly because they were both miserable and devious sons of bitches. It was during this period that the old man fell victim to amphetamine psychosis and landed himself in the mental hospital for the first time. And while the old man was still in the booby hatch, Joker got raided by the cops and arrested for methamphetamine production and distribution. Joker got 15 to 20 in Walla Walla, from which he never emerged, especially after beating his cellmate to death against a stainless steel toilet for the fatal error of stealing his tang. 15 to 20 turned into life without parole. The old man, well, he got out of the mental hospital and got Pete's mom, Alicia, pregnant at a drunken bonfire in some shit kicker's backyard. Then, when Pete was born, Alicia got the postpartum depression, and they both went back into dope hard. And it didn't matter what kind. Do, any dope will do. The old man, he loved to sing that. Then, to make matters worse, the huge influx of dope kicked in the old man's bipolar disorder. And he got manic, which of course contrasted against Alicia's depression and henceforth led to trouble in the worst way. They fought like cats and dogs constantly. This was when the old man first applied for disability. And that was a whole another basket of potatoes best left for the worms. Is that a saying? Probably not. The point is, it took 3 years for the old man to start cashing in on that sweet government paper. And he didn't have a decent job the whole time, which actually in the end did help testify to his validity as a permanently disabled man. The real point is, during that period, the old man was a nightmare to live with. For a while, he was stealing weed and coke out of Alicia's mother and father's house in Pullman, living in the attic with Alicia and the baby, everyone pissing in a mop bucket, chain smoking cigarettes and joints until the cows came home. There was always such a thick haze in that attic. For some reason, I wonder why. The old man drove the Odyssey up and down 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Avenues, all areas that were one way, and it was an attempt to clear some of the cobwebs from his skull. Maybe find someone he knew who had a few ducats to throw down on some drugs. Roxy's, shake and bake. Roxy's, shake and bake. Anyone need a lift up or down all around? The old man's got what you need, baby. No one I know out here but a bunch of broke-ass motherfuckers, said the old man with a cursory glance as he slowed down by the old skate park near the hospital and farmer's market, closed until May comes around again, sad to say. He just wanted to roll down the window and yell out of it, anyone need any dope? I got plenty of dope here, and I know you'll be needing it, you sorry-looking sons of bitches. That would have been a bit much, though. One has to keep a somewhat low profile, especially these days. I knew I shouldn't have given Pete my only bit of goddamn liquid cash. Little fucker, I could use another pack of Marlboros. While stopped for a red light at the intersection of 4th and Division, the old man finally ran into some luck when one of the local street rats recognized the Odyssey. He got up from his spot, seated over a couple dozen yards, on a concrete pad surrounded by shrubberies, green English U underneath the I-90 overpass. Old No-Dos heaved up a partially filled 12-pack, which he called a half rack of hams, with some cans of Rainier and Kokanee mixed in for good measure. Under his left arm, he ran with a bit of a limp up to the driver window of the camper, and he knocked on it with his free hand, as free it was going to get because he still had a can of beer in it. Sup, old man, said No-Dos, exhaling a white frosty mist against the grimy window, concealing his facial features somewhat. Hey, you crazy Irish fucker. You got a couple of dollars? Hop on. No-Dos swung around the front and climbed in as the light turned and the line of motorists behind the camper laid on their horns with impudent impatience. The old man leaned out of the driver's side window and scowled at those behind him with his grimly etched concrete jungle visage. Fuck off, you assholes. I'll kill yous all. Just you fucking wait. You, the one in the goddamn ugly ass hybrid. Yeah, I'm looking at you specially. Ah, said No Doze as he took a messy sip of beer. It foamed up and went down the front of his American flag wife beater. Ah, the old Scarborough Odyssey. Spokane's magic bus, if there ever was one. I guess it makes you Neil Cassidy or, Ken Casey. No, wait. I'll be Neil. Well, you know what they used to say back in the day. You're either on the bus or you're off it. Well, ain't that the truth? Friday night, though, No Doze thought you'd be at the bar in your cups. The fucking dickless wonder over at Annie's just flagged me and gave my ass the boot. Who was it, Walter? Nah, it was Tristan. Oh, no wonder that guy's a smarmy little cunt. Yeah, no shit, last time I threw him a tip, trying to be a nice guy and all. You do get pretty goddamn loud sometimes on that tequila and pickle juice, that pickle back or frog's ass or whatever the fuck you call it. Frog's ass. Yeesh, you fucking kids today are nuts. Tastes good. You should try it, old man. No, thank you. I'll stick with, stuff that normal folks drink. Yeah. You want a hams? I got coconut. I got Rainier. Sure, I'm driving all fucked up already. Why not? Give me a Rainier. Coconut ain't nothing but Canadian piss water. No Doze set the half rack of hams and down and tossed the old man a can. The old man cracked her open and destroyed that beer with apocalyptic tenacity before he crunched it and threw it out the window. No Doze laughed heartily and cleared some papers and receipts off the passenger seat before he sat down with the half rack between his knees. You know, said the old man with an acrid belch, you're one of the few folks around here with an out and open tab on my shit. Yeah, well, I needs to keep on the good sides of my wheelers and dealers. I ain't like these nickel and dime sons of bitches. If I needs it, I'ma pay for it up front. Know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Why can't more of my customers be like you? That's because I'm a 1 in a million, Pops. The old man did not like it when No Doze would call him Pops, but for the moment he ignored this transgression and kept his mind on the road, on business at hand. Hey, you don't happen to have any of them Percocets for sale, do you? The old man grinned toothlessly, with one bloodshot eye open, dilated, and wired, and the other half open, unfocused, with pupils tightly constricted. Why, yes, I do. Just got them filled the other day. Damn near failed my UA over at Pain Management. Cutting it too close, were you? Fucking A right. Fucking A right, he said the old man did, he did. Mimicked the old man in his trademark fake Irish accent. Yes, he was ginger. He was Irish, but in actuality, he was more Canuckian than anything else. It was funny, though. It's not like I was going to turn hot for anything. Oh, no? No, I almost failed because I didn't have enough of my medication in my system. Really? Yeah, but they let me slide. Fuck. Which is good because they're always busting my balls as it is. Yeah, any excuse is good as any with them fuckers, No Doze said as he turned his head and conspicuously looked around the back of the dilapidated camper. Say, where's old Pete at? I haven't seen him around for a few days. Who the fuck knows? Snapped the old man, eyes fixed on the road in front of him. He failed to notice as No Doze got up and went to use the restroom facilities. As they reached the stoplight at Division and Sprague, the old man came to the gradual realization that his guest was not present. Hope you're not trying to use that bathroom there, son. What? Came the voice from behind the curtain. I said you better not be shitting in my shitter. Whoops. Too late for that. Son of a dick, yelled the old man as he abruptly rose from the driver's seat, abandoning his post as the pilot of the SS Who Gives a Damn. Get out of there! He grabbed No Dose by the scruff of his neck and dragged him out with his goofy 90s style pants still partially down. His unwiped ass was hanging out. More horns from outside. Some people just do not have much patience. Well, how was I supposed to know your toilet was busted? The fact it was overflowing should have clued you in. God damn it, Pete. God damn it. It's Pete. He's the one that fucked her up in the first place. No Dose, never have kids. I mean it. Wear a fucking condom. Always wear a condom, or you'll be paying for it forever. The old man growled and returned to his post as driver, immediately flipping off all the other motorists in his periphery. Let's get the fuck out of this traffic. How much you looking to spend? I'm feeling a bit chipper. I can do 230s for 45. Little expensive, but that sounds good to me. No Dose reached into his pockets and with some mild consternation found 2 folded up 20s in his billfold. I'll just stick these in there, he said, popping open the glove compartment. At the moment, he was faced with an avalanche of papers and maps so ancient and yellowing that they could have led to pirate treasure. God damn it, said the old man. Who told you to be up in another man's shit, boy? What the hell's the matter with you? It seemed like a good place to put the money. I'm going to have to owe you that other 5. Bah! Your ass seems like a good place to put my foot, but you don't see me getting up and changing my socks now, do you? That's the end of that chapter. And we'll start that up again next time. Spokane Story. Let's have a weed break. Yeah. Why not? I want to make people feel like they're actually, hanging out with Alex, having a good time, smoking a little bit of weed, doing whatever, man. Poetry and weed go together. Reading is fundamental and it's fun. I got to tell you that. But if you can't read and your eyes don't work, then you might be better off just listening to spoken word. I know that my eyes have been getting worse, and I think I need glasses because it's getting more and more difficult to read text and stuff like that. And it'll work out pretty well, though. I do get glasses because everyone expects a writer to be wearing them fucking things. I don't know how it makes you look smarter, but I guess it does. Good day. Good day. Yeah, I'm smoking weed because it's legal here, and I could do it. Back in New Jersey, I would never have thought of doing such a thing. Or I record it ahead of time, save it for a long time, and then post it way after the fact. The cops back in New Jersey, they knew my number, man. They knew who I was. I'd be walking down the street and they'd slow down and just look like, I know what this guy's doing. He's up to no good. Well, fuck that shit. I'm out in Spokane now, and you gotta be really fucked up to have the cops following your ass around out here. I'll tell you that much. And it's good. It's good. And I think being so notorious in my home city, Newfield, New Jersey, and I have a family that everyone's talking about all the time. Just like all that fucking local bullshit gossip of people just pissed off because my dad used to have money, our family had money, and after we ran out of money and we're losing everything, everyone still thought that we were rich and, oh, look at this guy, thinks he's so great. Oh, and Manzoni and that goddamn kid of his. Yeah. Now I'm out here, and life is a hell of a lot better. They enjoy poetry out here. What a fucking shock, Good times. And I've never felt more at home than in Spokane, and actually wanted. Very nice. Very nice. This weed is Peach Dream from CBD, I guess, cannabis. And what do we got here? It is 25.47% THC. I bought that we got this from Cinder downtown, a very nice weed store to go to. Although if you've never been to a weed store, you'll be surprised sometimes. It takes a long time. People, it's like going to a music store sometimes. Like, Jesus Christ, pick out the damn weed and get the fuck out of the way so I can get my shit and go. While we were there, I got some, for the Seattle trip, we got like these vials. Oh, let me see. Let me see this stuff. Sure. No, I can't find it right now. But there's these little vials of like oil, and there's like 100 milligrams in it, and it's for like a topical. So you can just drink that shit. And I did 100 milligrams on the way back home, and I started kind of tripping a little bit. And like I'm riding in the car in the passenger seat, and like it felt like the seat was moving around, and it was pretty wild. I had that and the little Jolly Rancher chewies that they're making, because next year I hear tell that they're banning the candy weed and everything that's appealing to children, because they they are pretty appealing to children, and they're quite delicious, but they're kind of hard to the packages are pretty hard to open, so you got to really be like you got to really be trying to get in there to actually get to the stuff. I understand why they're banning it, but that's why I had to get some while the getting was good, Very tasty. Very tasty. I recommend that to anybody who enjoys candy and weed. Yeah. So I'm going to do one more thing from American Carnage. Respond to my one little message. And let's get this going. Doing this American Carnage, it's hard. It's fun to write, but it's also hard because I'm dealing with all this fucking political drama in the United States. I started writing this book with the November 2016 election, and I'm still going. It's 91,000 words, 128 pages so far, and no signs of stopping. A journey across the United States to escape. And then there's a whole bunch of shit going on all around the world. And here's one of those things, which is actually, some fucked up shit. This is called Zach Gets Harder While Unjustly Imprisoned. Guantanamo Tower, Guantanamo Bay, Americuba. Zach Milano was once an American living in true America with other like-minded Americans. Now he was a terrorist, threat level too high to think about. Speaking of too high, I'm not, but the thing was, though, that he wasn't a terrorist. Remember, he was merely a victim of identity theft. That is, thanks to a bevy of online purchases from questionable websites. Websites that were, in fact, mirror sites for the North Korean government, which surprisingly was still hanging on by a thread. Who then sold Zach's information to Mr. Abu Ali Rahajamajapadaran, who then immediately proceeded to use it to great effect. That didn't matter at this point, though. The RS government declared that Zach was full of shit, and consequentially, he was given an appropriate security classification. Admittedly, first, he was only considered a low-level United Islamist Caliphate Mujahideen. However, as the years progressed, so did his corresponding threat level. Perhaps ironically, Zach eventually became a target for the actual terrorists. They called him apostate. Some even repeatedly violated him sexually, which I'm pretty sure was not in line with the very specific interpretation of Sharia law that their organization prided itself on championing. Of course, the guards paid no mind. They sometimes took bets on whether Zach would be able to squirm out of it or not without getting stabbed or his throat slashed. Currently, Zach was 2 for 12. He had to get hard and fast. Eventually, he got fed up and he had to kill somebody. He jimmied his cell door open with the flat edge of a chessboard and viciously beat the alleged Syrian warlord Hassan bin al-Raqqa to death with a padlock tied to the end of a braided pair of institutional socks, while his cellmate was temporarily distracted with a visit from his state-appointed joke that they called a public defender or pretender, if you will. By nature, Zach was not a brutal man. Still, though, prison will bring the worst out of anybody. That's a fact that I do not believe many will argue with. Gradually, Zach's place on the tiers in the outlying camps surrounding the base of the tower became elevated. After the murder of al-Raqqa, his fate now truly sealed, Zach was transferred from the camps and into the tower proper. Following his transference, Zach's position in Guantanamo Tower so did rise, floor after floor, pod after pod. An American man with no ties to criminality, terrorism, extremism. None of that. He was now being held with the worst of the worst of the worst. He was segregated with the other foreigner Muslims who received, let's say, less preferential treatment than regular white American nationals, aka the homegrowns. It was part of a policy that the American public was actually very much behind. They cared little for the suffering of immigrants, too, let alone terrorists. It could happen to anybody. It can be said that once Zach was about as moderate as one could get given these troubled times. As you can well imagine, he was not so much anymore. He had a lot of anger to deal with. There was the anger towards the government, of course, anger at the man who stole his identity, anger at Muslims, anger at the prison and its cavalcade of guffawing military COs and unabashed gang rapists, anger at God, anger towards himself. Oh, you better believe there was some anger. He hadn't converted to Islam, but then again, he wasn't in a rush to go full American patriot either. He liked to think that he was, at this point, an ideological nihilist. The problem was, though, that Uncle Sam thought he was putting on a front. After all, the records show that the records were altered by the real Abu Ali. It didn't matter. The bureaucracy tended to take everything verbatim, except for all the weird shit that the president would say. That was officially up to interpretation. Everything else, though, that was gospel. Oh, well, except for the Constitution. And we're going to close American Carnage out with a quote from J. Royden Eagleman. What's great about the post-Reaganizer new American democracy is that it presents the illusion of choice. I'm still calling all the shots, but I let the people believe that they're in control. So go ahead, have all the elections you want, Sign all the petitions. Protest in the streets. I don't give two shits. I'll mow them all down where they stand with my stealth tanks and flamethrowers. Then I'll pretend to concede to something. The reality is, though, nothing changed at all. There were no concessions. Nothing at all. Brilliant. I am a genius. I am a genius all the time. Freedom is overrated. That's a message from the president of the future. And, yeah. Hope everyone has a great day today. We're going to close out with one more poem. I'm going to release the beast, one of my cool poems. Release the beast. Release the beast. I say this to myself all the time. Not always knowing exactly why. I have said it. Randomized utterances, they give birth to more complete thoughts at the crest of a stream of consciousness tidal wave. It encapsulates life. From cradle to grave, it saveth me from grim monotony. Release the beast. Only in situations earmarked for such occasions. On the stage, I become deific. Though if I did the same in the streets, I would be the raving madman on the corner. Sound and fury, signifying something? Untethered become thy soul, battling wild animals in the Roman Colosseum. Whilst Caligula gazes on in masturbatory furor. Draped in fermented seashell purple robes and linen, find myself as I beat back the beast that I demand the release of. No love there be in the blood-drenched fighting pit. I leap into the fray with net and trident, bent blades on the hide of the tiger and bear. Bear the brunt of the flurry, snapping teeth and raking claws. Send me to my fate. One fall would absolutely mean my end. Release the beast, I stand amongst the bodies. Given thumbs up by my peers, I spare the animals' lives. No coup de grace. Today, I cast the trident across the grounds and into the stands, into Caligula's white, open throat. Between chin and collar, a great holler resounds as the emperor falls from his seat. I have released the beast. Thank you, everybody. This has been Manzoni in the Morning, signing off.